ever feel like there's got to be more to success than just like checking things off a to-do list? Like, how do you go from just, doing your job to really crushing it, exceeding expectations? Well, get ready, because we're going to dive into that idea with a 1973 speech by Marion G. Romney. It's called Magnifying One's Calling in the Priesthood.
Interesting.
Now, before you think we've taken a hard turn into, like, religious territory, stick with us. Romney was a leader in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But his message about unlocking your potential, it really resonates way beyond any one belief system. It's about, like, tapping into that drive that makes you, indispensable, the go-to person.
Well, absolutely.
Whatever your field is.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Romney doesn't focus on, like, climbing the corporate ladder. Or chasing titles. You know? He argues that true fulfillment comes from really magnifying your calling. And it doesn't matter how big or small it is.
Interesting.
It's about taking ownership and just becoming exceptional at what you do,
So he kicks off with this idea of desire, right? But not just wanting a corner office. Or a fancy title. It's about this, like, he says you need to cultivate a burning desire to excel at whatever it is you're doing.
It's true. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it's like, to me, that sounds like, what do they call it? Intrinsic motivation.
Yes.
Right?
It is.
Like, it's that thing that comes from within.
It's about tapping into that.
Not from outside?
Exactly. Like, psychologists call it intrinsic motivation.
Okay.
Think about it this way. It's not about those external things. Like bonuses, awards, things like that. It's like that internal fire that pushes you to be the best version of yourself. No matter the task.
It's like you're not driven by getting that promotion. You're driven by a passion for the work itself.
Exactly,
Okay, so speaking of, he shares this story about a missionary. Who was fixated on becoming an apostle. Which, if you don't know, it's like aiming for this really highly visible leadership role. And you would think that ambition is admirable, right? But Romney uses it as like a reality check.
Totally. It's like he's saying, hey, wait a second. It's not about the title. It's about how well you serve in whatever role you're given. In fact, I love this quote. He says, holding a particular office will never save a person. One's salvation depends upon how well he discharges the duties.
Wow, that's powerful.
Isn't it?
It's a good reminder that we shouldn't get so caught up in titles or positions.
Exactly. True success is really, I think, the dedication and the excellence that we bring to our work. Regardless of the role,
No, totally. And then this is where Romney gets really interesting to me, is he doesn't just tell you to have this burning desire. He gives you like a 3-step process to magnify your calling.
Oh, interesting.
So the first part is, the desire fuels this hunger for knowledge. But then he says you got to actively engage with that knowledge.
Ponder on it deeply. And then he adds in this third element, and this is where, we're going to have to unpack this a little bit. But he says weaving prayer throughout that process. So for our listeners who maybe don't connect with the, religious aspect of it, how do we approach that?
That's what's so interesting. If we just kind of pull that apart a little bit and set aside the explicitly religious context for a second, what he's describing really does align with some really powerful secular learning techniques. Think about it. This active engagement with knowledge, this deep pondering he talks about. That's active reading, it's critical thinking, it's reflection. All these things that we know enhance learning and understanding. He was onto something. That's so true. We're just now catching up to what he was putting down.
I know, it's amazing.
Back in 73. And speaking of being ahead of the curve, to illustrate this pondering, he uses an example from the Book of Mormon. And he talks about a prophet named Nephi, who pondered until he had a vision. And I know this might seem like a purely religious idea. But could we think about this in a different light, maybe?
Absolutely. Think about those times when you've like wrestled with a problem or an idea, and then all of a sudden, after really focusing and reflecting on it, you have this breakthrough. That's what he's talking about. This idea of deep focus leading to like really profound insight.
That aha moment, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like you achieve this flow state.
Exactly. And it's something we can all tap into. Doesn't matter if we're, trying to solve an equation. write a story.
Yeah.
Or just navigate some tough situation.
Yeah.
It's about quieting all the noise.
Right.
And letting your mind really grapple with what's in front of you. And, when he talks about prayer, it doesn't have to be like in a strictly religious sense, right?
Okay.
It's more about aligning yourself with a larger purpose.
Right, like setting an intention.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Creating that space for reflection and connecting with something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if that something is just, your desire to learn and grow.
Exactly, exactly.
And he uses this really powerful image of Christ knocking on the door. And you can take that literally, or you can see it as this metaphor, for being open to inspiration. To those aha moments that happen when you least expect it.
Yeah, it's about being receptive.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
It's about actively looking for knowledge. And then letting it really sink in.
So it all comes back to this process of magnifying your calling, the desire, the knowledge, and then this deep pondering, which...
It's not passive.
It's not passive, right? This takes work.
No, not at all.
Dedication.
And he really emphasizes that.
Okay.
Uses this word magnify again and again.
Yeah.
And I think he meant to.
Okay.
Because to magnify something means to enlarge it, right?
Right.
To make it more important, to make it bigger than it might seem at first.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants us to do with our callings.
Yes.
With our work, even with our lives.
To find that spark.
Yes.
That makes it extraordinary.
Exactly.
Even if it seems ordinary to other people.
It's about bringing your full self to whatever you do.
Right. And he's not saying, like, you're going to win awards.
No, not at all.
It's about that satisfaction that you've
given it your all.
You put your all into it.
Yes, exactly.
It makes me think of that quote. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Oh, I love that one.
Like, it's about showing up with this sense of intention and purpose and everything.
I love it.
And, our listeners might be thinking, okay, this sounds great in theory.
Right.
But how do we actually put this into practice?
Right. How do we do this?
And Romney, thankfully, does not leave us hanging.
Okay, good.
He gives us this incredible passage from the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
He shares this message from a prophet named Nephi. And it's a call to action.
What does he say?
He says, "Behold, my beloved brethren, I said unto you, feast upon the words of Christ. For behold, the words of Christ will tell you all things what you should do. Wherefore, now after I have spoken these words, if ye cannot understand them, it will be because ye ask not, neither do ye knock. Wherefore ye are not brought into the light, but must perish in the dark."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he does not mince words.
No, he doesn't.
But that's what I kind of like about it. It's like, it makes you really sit up and pay attention.
It does. It's powerful.
But we can apply this to a secular context.
Absolutely. Tell me more about that.
It's about actively seeking out knowledge.
Okay.
Asking those questions.
Right.
Not being afraid to, really dive in.
Yes, be curious.
Yeah. Be curious, be engaged.
Yes, exactly. You have to be engaged to really learn and grow.
You can't just be passive.
Exactly. It's not enough to just, read something and put it down.
Right. You have to wrestle with it.
You have to. Challenge what you think you know.
And look for different perspectives.
Yes. And that's uncomfortable sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
But those moments of discomfort, that's where the growth is.
That's so true.
Right.
And he goes on and he talks about the importance of prayer. But again, we can look at that in a different way.
In a more universal way, yeah.
Right. It's about that inner drive.
Exactly.
And he emphasizes the consistency. He says, "And now, my beloved brethren, I perceive that ye ponder still in your hearts, and it grieveth me that I must speak concerning this thing. For if ye would hearken unto the Spirit which teacheth a man to pray, ye would know that you must pray. For the evil spirit teacheth not a man to pray, but teacheth him that he must not pray. But behold, I say unto you that you must pray always, and not faint. That ye must not perform anything unto the Lord, save in the first place ye shall pray unto the Father in the name of Christ, that he will consecrate thy performance unto thee, that thy performance may be for the welfare of thy soul."
Okay, wow, that's a lot to unpack.
I know, right?
But if we boil it down,
Yeah.
he's saying that consistency is key.
Okay.
It's about taking that inner drive, that desire to be great, and making it part of everything you do.
Yeah.
Bringing that to your work, your relationships, everything.
It's like consecrating your actions.
Exactly.
Oh,
it's about approaching everything with a sense of purpose.
Yes.
With dedication.
It's about bringing that same, energy and focus to all those little, everyday things,
Totally. It's like you're dedicating each one to something bigger.
And that's where it all kind of comes together for me.
It does, right.
Because he starts with this idea of the desire.
Right.
Then he digs into the knowledge.
Yeah.
And engaging with that.
It's a process?
Yeah. But then it's this, real call to action.
It is. It's like, okay, now go and do it.
Go do it.
Consistently, every single day.
That's so powerful, right?
It's not just about, what to do either.
It's the why.
It's the why behind it.
Yes.
He's not just giving you a bunch of rules.
Exactly. There's something much deeper there.
Yeah. And it's like you said, finding that.
Where your passion and your purpose kind of come together.
Yeah. And then giving it your all.
Yes.
Because it's that, at the end of the day, that's what leads to true fulfillment.
Yes, absolutely.
And that applies, you could be...
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. It could be your career. It could be...
It could be your family.
Being a parent.
Exactly.
It's just about showing up.
Yes, exactly. And you know what I love about his message?
What's that?
It's for everyone.
Yeah, he's not just talking to...
He's not just talking to the executives. Yeah. He's saying, look...
Yeah.
You don't have to have this big, fancy title.
Or a position of power to make a difference.
You can magnify your calling, whatever it is.
Yes, absolutely. No matter where you are in your life.
Okay, so to bring this back to our listeners.
Okay.
What does this actually look like,
Okay, yeah.
To magnify your calling.
Practically speaking.
Yeah, practically speaking. What can they start doing, today?
I think... Maybe just start by shifting your perspective a little bit.
Okay.
Approach every task, every interaction, as a chance to learn and grow.
To get better at what you're doing.
Exactly. Find that spark.
Find that spark.
Yes, it's like you're saying, find that extraordinary in the ordinary.
Yes, exactly. And remember that thing about pondering?
Oh, I love that.
What if our listeners took, 5 minutes every day to reflect on their work, on their goals, and really ask themselves, how can I do this even better tomorrow?
That's it. That's the question right there.
Right. So on that note,
okay,
I think we've done a pretty good job of really diving into this idea of magnifying your calling.
I think so too. We really dug in.
We covered a lot.
We did. And you know what? It might have seemed like a really specific topic at first.
Yeah.
But there's some really timeless wisdom in there.
For sure, stuff that anyone can apply.
Absolutely, to any part of life.
So until next time, keep these minds curious. And no matter what your calling is, you have the power to magnify it.
That's right, magnify it.